Hi, it's Tessa with Hip Over 50, helping you make the best of the rest of your life. Today I'm going to talk about being alone and loneliness. What's the difference? Well, being alone, it just means you're by yourself, you're on your own. Loneliness is the stigma or the thoughts that we have about what it means to be alone. And I'm here to hopefully dispel any of those stigmas so that you can enjoy being alone when you choose to be and not worry too much about being alone or having lonely thoughts. So, again, being alone just means you're on your own, or you're at this point in your life, this stage in your life, this day, this moment, this hour, you are by yourself. And I think there's so many negative connotations to being alone that I really want to bust those open because there is nothing wrong with being alone. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being on your own, but we are taught that we are only valuable if we have somebody else by our side or if we're in a group that has accepted us. And that's just not true. We're all valuable. We're all worthy of everything that life has to offer, whether we're on our own or with a group or with one other person. There's no difference. Being alone is just a state of mind or a state of being. Loneliness is a state of mind, and it can be changed if you're conscious and aware of it. So let's get back to being over 50 and feeling alone. Honestly, at this stage in your life, a lot of folks are probably on their own for the first time in their life because if you're a parent, your kids have probably flown the nest, hopefully. And if you've been working and you're thinking about retiring or you've already retired, then you're no longer surrounded by coworkers or no longer in an office environment. And if you are, you know, have been in a partnership or in a relationship or long-term marriage, and through death or divorce or separation, you're now on your own. These are all changes that can happen at this time in our life. And sometimes it can seem kind of overwhelming, especially when you throw in something like the pandemic, where a lot of us were forced to be on our own for long periods of time. It really makes you question, how can you handle being on your own and being okay with it? Because at any given time in our lives, we'll find ourselves alone or on our own. And it's good to know what to do when you have those thoughts that there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with this state of being. So I'm here to tell you there's absolutely nothing wrong with being on your own. If you are on your own through no fault of your own, as a lot of people are, because of circumstances in their life have changed, then that's just temporary. It doesn't have to be permanent. Being alone says nothing about who you are. It doesn't say that you're not valuable, you're not worthy, you're not deserving of attention or appreciation or love. It just means you just happen to be on your own. So being with somebody else, is that always better than being on your own? I mean, it varies. If you're with somebody that you truly love, whose company you enjoy, yeah, that obviously that adds to our enjoyment of life to have really good company. But if you're with somebody just because you don't want to be alone and that's the alternative, well, that's not such a great choice. That doesn't add to your life. It doesn't add to your joy. And it doesn't necessarily support your health or your heart. So being alone is, I think there's a stigma about it because, you have the table for one, or you have, the holidays, which are always a tricky time because everybody's supposed to be all loved up and families or in a relationship and celebrating it with a group of people. So there is some stigma to being alone, especially at these certain times in our life or in certain times of the year. But there doesn't have to be. Know that you are not alone being alone. You have lots of company being alone. There's plenty of people out there that are on their own too. And if you choose to be on your own, then it's a more empowering way to think about it, that you've chosen this period in your life to kind of kick back and say, hey, all my life I've been taking care of other people and thinking about what their needs are. I'm going to take this time to think about what my needs are and how I can help myself and be true to myself. So think of it that way too, as a choice that you're choosing to get a little closer to who you are, to doing the things you want to do, and to spending your perfect day, the way you want to. It's always about choice. So I think if you think about being alone as being a choice rather than something that just happened to you, it helps you kind of reframe it. And I also think when you think about being alone as a good state to be in. It allows you time to have unlimited me time, to do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it, eat the food you want to eat, have total control of the remote, and spend your day the way you want to. I know it can be a little disorienting because often we're so used to being around other people and sort of tuning into their needs and tuning into what they want, or kind of, going along with the flow, that we've lost track of what it is that we truly want or desire. So think of being alone as a way or a time for you to tap back into that and really think about what you want. And that's because that's the only way you can go about getting it. If you're unconscious about what you want, if you don't know, if you've never asked yourself, then how are you going to go get it? And this is the time of your life when you really want to go get it. So being alone and being lonely are two different things. So let's talk about being lonely. Being lonely is when you think there's something wrong with being alone, that you miss company, that you miss other people, that you miss the companionship, and you miss the sort of almost the validation of having people around you that have chosen to be with you. But if you take away that validation, if you can validate yourself and say, I am worthy just for being me. I don't need anybody else to approve of me. I don't need anybody else to say I'm okay. I can be a part of any group, any club, any organization, any family that I want to be, if I choose to be. So being lonely is a state of mind. It's saying, I'm not worthy of company, or I don't know how to take care of myself unless there's somebody else there to help me do it. And I understand that. And we've all had lonely thoughts from time to time. We've all wondered if this is a permanent state of being, if you've been in a relationship and then all of a sudden it's over and you're on your own. But I'm telling you, it's not permanent. It doesn't have to be. It can be a momentary time of your life when you re-examine what it is that you want out of life and who you are and what you need. And then you can go forth and find it if you want. Now, I will say that as an introvert, it's a lot easier for me to be on my own because I thrive on being on my own. I haven't always thrived on being on my own. There's been times in my life when I felt very lonely and felt that nobody chose me or felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. But I don't feel that way anymore because now I've become accustomed to being on my own, and I realize that that's truly my nature because I am an introvert. I recharge my batteries when I'm on my own. I'm great. I love going out and being social and hanging out with, good friends or family. But at the same time, I crave my own company too. That's when I kind of recharge. Now, if you're an extrovert, being on your own and being lonely can be a little trickier because you do get charged up by being around other people. But know that it doesn't mean anything about you. You can always get back to that state. You can always join a meetup group, go on an online dating site. You can do things to change your status of being alone if you choose to. Think about it as a choice. You've chosen this time, and you can choose to change it at any time you want. I hope this helps you reframe what it means to be alone and loneliness, and I look forward to your comments. Put them in the box below, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.